In a quiet village, there lived a little girl named Mika. Her house was an old yet cozy home surrounded by a lush green garden, and at night, the moonlight gently illuminated her room. Mika's room had a large window from which she could see the vast starry sky. Every night, Mika looked out that window, her heart racing with excitement about the dreams she might have. One evening, a night arrived when the moon shone particularly beautifully. The full moon floated high in the sky, and the surrounding stars twinkled as if drawn to its glow. As usual, Mika lay down in bed and closed her eyes by the window where the moonlight streamed in. Suddenly, a soft light appeared from the corner of the room, and a small moon spirit floated into view. The spirit wore a deep blue dress that resembled the night sky, and its light seemed just like the moonlight itself. Mika, good night. Are you ready for a special journey tonight? The spirit gently spoke. Mika, surprised yet filled with curiosity, replied with shining eyes, "What kind of journey?" The spirit smiled and said, "Tonight, the moonlight will guide you to the world of dreams. Relax and let's travel together." Mika closed her eyes and followed the spirit's words. Gradually, the room began to shine like a starry sky, and she felt a gentle sensation of floating. When she opened her eyes, she found herself standing in a vast meadow bathed in beautiful silver moonlight. The meadow was alive with colorful flowers blooming all around, and a pleasant breeze swept through. The flowers whispered softly, and it felt as though the entire meadow was merging into the light. For a moment, Mika was captivated by the scene, but soon she noticed a particularly bright path of light ahead. The path stretched deep into the meadow like a silver ribbon. As she followed the path of light, a large forest with towering trees unfolded before her. The trees sparkled under the moonlight, and the sound of leaves swaying in the night breeze was soothing like a lullaby. Mika stepped into the forest, walking alongside the moon spirit. In the forest, many wondrous creatures lived. First, she met an owl with glowing eyes. The owl spoke to Mika about a secret place deep within the woods. In this forest, there is a beautiful place called the Moon Lake. There, the moon spirits gather every night to perform a beautiful dance. Intrigued, Mika replied, "I would love to see that place." The owl spread its wings and guided her deeper into the woods. As they walked, a pretty path glowing softly appeared, and Mika enjoyed the enchanting scenery. Eventually, they arrived at the Moon Lake. The lake was transparent and shone silver as it reflected the moonlight. Elegant white lotus flowers bloomed at the water's edge, their petals sparkling like wings of light. The spirits were performing beautiful dances, reflecting the moonlight on the surface of the lake. The dance was graceful and flowing, soothing anyone who watched. Mika was mesmerized by the scene, sitting by the lakeshore as she carefully watched the spirits dance. When the spirits noticed Mika, they smiled at her and showed even more beautiful dances. Their movements resembled the very light of the moon, and the entire lake shone in rhythm with their elegance. After leaving the lake, Mika and the spirit returned to the meadow. This time, they headed towards a fantastical world floating in the clouds beyond the meadow. The clouds spread softly, like a fluffy bed, and as they ascended, small islands and bridges of light appeared in the sky. On the clouds, colorful flowers blossomed, and fairies were joyfully playing. Mika joined in their games, enjoying their light decorations and playing with rainbow-colored balloons. The fairies taught Mika aerial tricks and dances in the light. Time passed quickly, and Mika found herself having an absolute blast. As time went on, Mika's eyes grew heavy, and a pleasant fatigue enveloped her body. The moon spirit came close and gently spoke, "Tonight's journey was meant to bring you relaxation and peace. It's almost time for bed." Mika expressed her gratitude to the spirit and lay down on the fluffy cloud bed. The cloud bed was soft and warm, as if she were cradled in her mother's arms. Her eyes naturally closed, and she was lured into a comfortable sleep. The moon spirit smiled softly and said, "Good night, Mika. Let's meet again in the wonderful world of dreams." That night, Mika drifted into a deep sleep, feeling relaxed in a peaceful and beautiful dream. In the dream world, all the adventures she experienced remained in her heart, wrapping her in comforting serenity and happiness until the morning light broke through. The next morning, when Mika woke up, she felt warm at heart and was ready to embrace the day with energy. The memories of her moonlit journey were deeply etched in her heart, and she believed that wonderful dreams would continue to come on future nights. Several days passed, and Mika's daily life continued, but she couldn't shake the vivid memories of her dream journey with the moon spirit. The peaceful meadow, the shining moon lake, and the fairies dancing under the night sky lingered in her heart, almost as if they were real. One evening, Mika sat by her window, gazing at the stars, when a sudden desire to return to the dream world filled her. At that moment, a soft light appeared in her room, and standing there was the moon spirit. "Mika, I'm happy to see you again," the spirit said with a gentle smile. "Tonight, I'll guide you back to the dream world, but this time, your journey will be different." Curious, Mika asked, "What will be different?" The spirit explained, "You'll have an important role this time. A place in the dream world needs your help. Are you ready?" Though nervous, Mika felt her courage rise and replied, "Yes, I'm ready." The room filled with a brilliant light, and Mika was once again lifted into the dream world, where she found herself standing in the same moonlit meadow. However, something felt different. Beyond the meadow stretched a dark forest, and from within came a strange, unsettling sound. "There is trouble in the forest," the spirit said. "The balance has been disturbed, and the creatures there need your help." Mika hesitated for a moment but then asked, "What should I do?" The spirit replied, "Go into the forest and listen to the creatures. They'll guide you." With the moon spirit by her side, Mika entered the forest, where the once comforting moonlight seemed dimmed by a cold wind. As they ventured deeper, Mika encountered the owl with glowing eyes, whom she had met before. "The moon lake has darkened, and the spirits have stopped dancing," the owl said gravely. "Something is wrong at the heart of the forest, where an ancient sacred tree is losing its power. You may be able to save it." Determined, Mika followed the owl and the spirit to the heart of the forest. There, she found the once grand sacred tree, its branches withered and dark shadows creeping from cracks in its trunk. "This is the source of the trouble," the spirit explained. "The shadows are draining the tree's life force. You have the power to dispel them with the light in your heart. Trust in yourself." Mika closed her eyes and focused on the warmth and kindness she felt within. Slowly, she summoned her inner light, extending her hand toward the shadows. A soft glow radiated from her fingers, and as it touched the darkness, the shadows began to dissolve. As the last of the shadows vanished, the sacred tree slowly regained its vitality. Its leaves turned green, and its branches reached toward the sky once again. The forest, too, came back to life, filled with the joyful sounds of creatures and the spirits' dance. Mika, You've restored peace to the forest, the spirit said with gratitude. You possess great strength within you. Never forget to trust in your heart as you face future challenges. Filled with pride, Mika smiled and replied, I'll always trust in the light inside me. The spirit then guided Mika back to the moonlit meadow, where they stood for a while in peaceful silence. Mika realized this journey had shown her just how powerful her heart truly was. Later, as Mika lay down on the soft clouds, she drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep, her heart light with the promise of more adventures to come. The next morning, she woke to the sight of the full moon still lingering in the sky. She looked out her window and whispered, until we meet again in my dreams. The morning after Mika awoke, she found herself bathed in the soft light of dawn, wondering if the events of the previous night had been just a dream. The journey with the moon spirit and the power she used to save the forest remained vivid in her mind. On her way to school, Mika reflected on her experiences. Even while talking to her classmates, her thoughts drifted back to the moonlit forest and the sacred tree. During recess, she couldn't shake the feeling that the moon spirit was still watching over her. Was it really just a dream? Mika asked herself. That night, while gazing at the stars, she longed to return to the dream world. She closed her eyes, wishing to meet the moon spirit again. After a while, a soft light enveloped her room. The moon spirit appeared, smiling warmly. Mika, I'm so happy to travel with you again, the spirit said. Tonight's journey will be special. You'll find a new friend, and together, embark on an adventure to discover more of the dream world. Mika followed the spirit's words and soon found herself in the familiar meadow, but the scenery had changed. A stunning aurora lit the sky. The spirit pointed to a small hill where a boy stood, holding a glowing stone. He is your new friend, Ryu, the spirit explained. He has an important role in this world. Mika approached Ryu, who looked surprised but smiled kindly. Who are you? Ryu asked. My name is Mika. Are you on a journey here too? She replied. Ryu nodded. Something is disturbing the balance of this world, and I need to fix it. He showed her the glowing stone. This stone is the key to a castle at the center of the dream world. If we reach it, we can find out what's causing the problem. Mika asked to join him, and Ryu agreed. Together, they walked across the meadow under the moon's glow, sharing their stories. Ryu revealed that in the real world, he was lonely, but the dream world helped him find his purpose. Mika shared her own experiences, and their bond grew. They reached a large forest guarded by a gigantic white wolf. The spirit explained they needed to earn the wolf's trust to pass. Ryu extended his hand, and the wolf gently pressed its nose against it, signaling its approval. The wolf led them deeper into the forest, where they met other mysterious creatures. With their help, they made their way toward the mysterious castle. In the distance, they saw the towering castle, its walls gleaming in the moonlight. We're almost there, Ryu said. But suddenly, the forest darkened, and an ominous wind blew. A giant black shadow loomed before them. Who dares to invade this forest? The shadow asked, towering over them menacingly. Ryu drew his bow, and Mika clenched her fists. They exchanged a determined glance. We've come to save this dream world. Mika shouted, summoning her courage. Our journey won't end here. The shadow wavered, and Ryu added, we're here to restore balance to this world. If you stand in our way, we'll fight. The shadow trembled and slowly faded away, the path ahead reopening, bathed in light. We did it, Mika exclaimed. But we can't let our guard down, Ryu warned. We need to hurry to the castle and find out what's causing this disturbance. They reached the castle gates, which opened slowly, spilling light from within. Mika and Ryu sensed the truth they had been searching for hidden in that light. The real adventure begins here, Mika said, and Ryu smiled in agreement. The morning after Mika and Ryu woke up, their adventure in the dream world felt distant, yet the memories remained vivid. Mika pulled open the curtains to a calm, sunlit world. Good morning, Ryu, she said as he stood beside her. Good morning, Mika. Was it all just a dream? Ryu asked, still sleepy. Mika smiled. I'm not sure, but something feels different. They exchanged glances, realizing their experiences in the dream world had left an impact on the real world. Mika, in particular, still felt the moon's protective power within her. That world was beautiful, Mika reminisced. The moon lake, the dancing spirits, it all felt so magical. Ryu agreed. Now that the crystal is restored, the dream world will stay peaceful. Do you think we have another mission? Mika pondered. Maybe our next adventure will be in the real world. That connection to the dream world hasn't fully faded. They sat quietly, reflecting. Then Mika laughed. Let's take it easy today. I love the adventure, but I'm tired. Ryu nodded. Yeah, we can rest today and prepare for whatever's next. The day passed peacefully, though the memory of their journey stayed with them. Mika felt a new strength but chose to focus on everyday life, while Ryu believed new challenges awaited them. A few nights later, Mika felt a strange sensation under the full moon. She opened the window, letting the moonlight touch her face. Ryu, come here, she called. The moon is trying to tell us something. Ryu joined her, looking up. You're right. Something's happening. Suddenly, soft light enveloped them, and they found themselves back in the dream world, the beautiful meadow stretching before them under a starry sky. We are back, Mika exclaimed with joy. But why? The moon spirit appeared, floating gracefully toward them. Mika, Ryu, this world is part of your soul. The dream world and real world are intertwined, and by moving between them, you bring peace to both. But what can we do? Mika asked. Your role is to connect both worlds, maintaining balance. You'll return here to fulfill your duty as guardians. Ryu nodded. So, we are guardians. But what do we need to do? The moon spirit smiled. The answer lies in your hearts. The journey ahead is yours to forge. We'll always watch over you and come when you need us. Mika gratefully nodded. Thank you. We'll do our best. Back in the real world, they felt a stronger connection to the dream world. They knew they'd return when needed, fulfilling their mission to protect the balance between both realms. Weeks later, Mika and Ryu embarked on another dream world adventure. The world was peaceful and beautiful as before, and the spirits guided them to new trials. Many times, they returned, overcoming challenges and safeguarding the balance between dreams and reality. When faced with difficult decisions, Mika and Ryu trusted each other and worked together. Even in the real world, their bond grew stronger. They often recalled the lessons from the dream world, applying them to everyday life. Both worlds became equally important to them. One night, they returned to the dream world under a sky filled with rainbow colors. Smiling at each other, they took hands and ventured forward into a new adventure. And so, Mika and Ryu's story continued, journeying between the dream and real worlds, bringing peace to both as kind and noble guardians.